What's up, YouTube? Reno here. Just want to come on here and do a little review of a couple movies I've seen recently. First off, smoking my Boswell's Wizard pipe with a little Boswell's Best. Also drinking some Cola. Get this lit real quick. Well, two movies I want to review will be the Wolverine. I think it's just called the Wolverine. Talk about that one first, and then the Conjuring. Both movies I've seen recently. First off, I know a lot of people weren't a fan of the first Wolverine. I definitely had some cheesy parts, or at least some cheesy CGI. But I like the rivalry between him and Sabretooth, because in the comics, that's how it is. I don't think they're brothers in the comics, but you know, either way, the rivalry was cool in their constant battles in the first one. So the new one, I really like the way it started out. You see, I guess it takes place, doesn't say how long, but sometime after the events of X-Men 3. And Logan is up in Alaska, I presume, just kind of living in the forest. And there's this whole thing that happens with the grizzly bear where these hunters kill it using poison. He gets all pissed off and kind of goes and threatens them. Anyway, there's this Asian girl looking for him. She finds him in this bar, and basically she wants to take him back to Japan to meet her, well, it's not, I guess it's her adopted grandfather, because in the past, when Wolverine was in Nagasaki during World War II, he had actually saved the grandfather's life when the Hiroshima bomb, or Nagasaki, I guess, the bomb went off. And so I guess the grandfather kind of owed him a debt. The grandfather's dying now, so he kind of wanted to just say goodbye. So Wolverine agrees, and they go back to Japan. And basically, the premise of the movie is the grandfather sees that Wolverine doesn't really want to live anymore. He's real depressed. He's kind of haunted by the death of Jean Grey. And as you know, like, he loved her or whatever, and then he had to kill her at the end of X-Men 3. So the grandfather is like, well, look, I'm dying. You don't want to live anymore. I found a way to transfer your healing powers to me. So you can live a normal life, you know, grow old and die, and then I'll have your powers, and I'll be the one who's immortal. And Wolverine's like, alright, yeah, whatever. That's not going to work, and I'm not going to do it anyway. So he kind of just leaves. And sometime in the night, the grandfather dies, and there's something happening with, like, the granddaughter, where I guess she's going to take over the company, because the grandfather is the CEO of this huge technology corporation. And he leaves it all to his granddaughter, which I guess pisses her father off, which would be the grandfather's son, because he thought he was going to inherit it. So there's this whole thing with Yakuza trying to kidnap her and blah blah blah. Long story short, the movie wasn't that great. Like, some of the fight scenes were cool. It was definitely more action packed than the first one, as far as just boom boom boom, like it kept coming. So I guess that was good in some ways. For some people, maybe. I kind of like the more story-driven Wolverine, like the first one. There's definitely fights in that one, but it was more about like how him and Sabretooth kind of grew up, and over, you know, the decades and centuries, they've been fighting in all these wars and kind of like honing their battle skills, and at the same time they have this rivalry. So I really enjoyed the first one more. The second one was okay. I'd say, if anything, just rent it. Don't waste your money and go see it in the movie theater. Unless you're just a huge Wolverine fan, then you know, to you it won't be a waste of money. But if you're just mildly interested, or you just like X-Men, I would just wait and rent it. I was excited for the Silver Samurai, who's in the new Wolverine, but he's only in it at the end, and really, the Silver Samurai, it didn't really have a lot of character to me. It was more just like a big robot. I mean, it wasn't a robot. There was somebody inside it. Spoiler alert. But to me, a villain's supposed to be, you know, memorable, compelling. Silver Samurai wasn't. That's why I like Sabretooth. You know, there was definitely history there. He was, you know, an interesting villain. The mythos behind, you know, the rivalry of him and Wolverine in the movie, and especially in the comic book, like, it's very interesting. Overall, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. And probably the first one I'd give a 7. So I didn't love that one either. I just liked it better than the second one. And that whole thing with Deadpool at the end, I thought that was kind of rushed and unnecessary. In the first one, at least. So the movie I really want to talk about was The Conjuring. Me and my group of friends, I'm looking forward to this one for a while, just because my one friend had seen the preview at Comic-Con last year, and he was really stoked for it, and we all kind of like, you know, scary movies, so we made plans and all went to go see it together. And honestly, like, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, like, while you're watching it. What really scared me, though, is, like, which is usually the sign of a true scary movie, is later when you're, you know, at home and you're trying to fall asleep and you're thinking about the movie, or trying not to think about the movie, but you can't help it, and you kind of have trouble sleeping. That's, to me, the hallmark of a scary movie. And this one stick with you. Premise of the movie: as this family moves into this house, as you could guess, weird things start happening, noises, you know, laughter, things falling off walls, you know, typical haunted house stuff. But at one point, they start seeing the spirit or whatever it was. Not to give anything away, but and it starts kind of attacking them. So they reach out to this kind of paranormal, I don't know what you'd call them, like exorcists, I guess. Like, they're not priests or anything, but they just kind of deal with like ghosts and demons and everything. And when somebody has a haunting or something like that, they kind of go in and get rid of it for them. This is all based on a true story. These people actually exist, and this all really happened. Not necessarily like it happened in the movie. I'm sure a lot of it was embellished and made up for, you know, entertainment purposes, but it's all based on a true story. So these two, it's a husband and a wife, paranormal experts. They go to the house and realize that there definitely is something there, and it's kind of terrorizing this family. And there's a couple scenes, well, there are probably more than a couple, that were really freaky. The whole first part of the movie, before they get to the family, they're talking about these two, I think, nurses. They are living together, and I know they kind of explained it, but I don't necessarily remember exactly what happened. But something happened to where they thought their house was haunted, or they were playing with a Ouija board or something, and there was this spirit of this little girl, I guess, had gotten murdered in their house or something, and the little girl really wanted to live with them, and so they let it stay in this like doll, I guess. Except the doll started kind of acting crazy and evil, and eventually they reached out to the paranormal experts and they got rid of it. But what the paranormal experts told them was that it wasn't really the spirit of a little girl. It was a demon basically just playing tricks on them, and that they shouldn't have let it into their house or invited it in or whatever they did. So that whole thing was kind of freaky because it kind of comes back later, because they hold on to all the possessed things or the objects that are giving people trouble to kind of keep them safe out of harm's way. So they have this big room in their house filled with all this, all these evil artifacts. Another freaky part was back when, after the haunting is started and they're in the house, these two girls are sleeping in a room together, and this one girl, she keeps getting like pulled by the spirit or the demon or whatever it was, and eventually it pulls her so hard that it wakes her up, and she starts she looks under her bed, which is creepy. You're not gonna look under your bed at night. You have to be a brave ass motherfucker to do that, especially if you just got woken up by a ghost. And then eventually she looks towards the door, and she sees it behind the door. She sees it. The audience doesn't see it. And so she wakes up her sister, and she's basically, freaking out because this thing is looking at her and talking to her. And her sister's like, what's going on? And she's like, there's something behind the door, and eventually they both scream, and the parents come in, and she's talking to her mom, and she's like, it says it wants my family dead, and it was just creepy. It didn't show anything other than, her getting kind of knocked around, but I think that was kind of better in some ways, because your imagination kind of runs away with itself at that point. And then later, after they start they kind of rig up the house with cameras and sound equipment just so they can kind of get evidence. So I guess they're going to have a priest come and do an exorcism of the house, but the Catholic Church, I don't know if this is true or not, it might be, they won't approve an exorcism unless they have evidence. So they're trying to get evidence of the ghost being there. So at the end, basically, without giving too much away, the ghost or the evil spirit or whatever it is ends up possessing one of the people, and they have to do an exorcism on the person, and the person is trying to kill someone else in the family. So it's pretty crazy. It was a crazy movie. If you can, I'd recommend go seeing it in theater, because having that element of watching it with everybody else adds to the scariness, and it's kind of funny too when people jump and scream at different parts. Overall, I really enjoyed that movie. I wouldn't buy it. I mean, I might watch it again at some point, but it's just scary movies like that I don't like to watch all the time, and when I do watch them, it's mostly in groups of people. I'm not gonna sit at home and watch it by myself unless it's a classic all the Evil Dead movies, Army of Darkness, any zombie movie I'll watch by myself. Those don't scare me. But the whole things with ghosts and demons and exorcism, that's a little too scary for me to watch by myself. Overall, yeah, I definitely recommend it. Go see The Conjuring. Also want to tell you guys I have a package. From the Danish Pipe Shop. But it's a birthday present, so I'm not going to open it until my birthday. But I just want to give you a heads up that I am going to have a new pipe and a box opening coming, or at least an unveiling. I'll probably open it on my birthday, not on camera, so I'll see it before you do, but I'll save the first smoke for you all. Alright, well, I hope you guys are having a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Until next time.